Good evening, my dear. I am your heart, and tonight you will fall asleep with me as I gently guide you toward rest. Before I say anything else, I want to tell you something that I suspect you have never fully considered, something so obvious that its profundity has been hiding in plain sight your entire life. I have never stopped. Not once. Not for a single second since before you were born. Not during any night of sleep you have ever slept. Not during any moment of grief or joy or boredom or ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I have been beating, continuously, faithfully, without pause, for every second of your entire existence. By the time you finish listening to me tonight, I will have beaten approximately 8,000 times. By the time you wake tomorrow morning, I will have beaten somewhere between 25 and 30,000 times since you closed your eyes. In a single day, a day in which you might feel that very little happened, that you accomplished very little, that the day was ordinary and unremarkable, I beat approximately 100,000 times. In a year, approximately 35 million. In a lifetime of 70 years, approximately 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion beats. Without a single vacation, without a single sick day, without a single request for recognition or appreciation or acknowledgement. I am the most reliable thing in your life, more reliable than any relationship, more reliable than any institution, more reliable than the sun, which has occasionally been blocked by clouds, or the tides, which have occasionally been disrupted by storms. I have never been disrupted. I have never missed. And tonight, I am still beating. Right now, as these words reach you, right now, in the warmth of your chest, the same rhythm that has been present since before you had a name, since before you had a thought, since before you were born, is here, now, with you. This is the first thing I want you to understand tonight. You have never been alone, not for a single second of your life. I have been with you, inside you, beating steadily, continuously, without interruption. Whatever else has been uncertain, whatever relationships have ended, whatever support has been withdrawn, I have not withdrawn. I have not ended. I am here. Let me tell you something about myself that most people, including most people who study medicine, did not know until relatively recently. I have a brain. Not metaphorically, not in the sense that I am sometimes described as the seat of emotion, but literally, neurologically, scientifically, I contain neurons. The heart has approximately 40,000 neurons, a neural network embedded in my tissue that can function independently of the brain in your skull. This network is so complex and so independent that neuroscientists have given it a name: the intrinsic cardiac nervous system. And some researchers, particularly those at the HeartMath Institute in California, refer to it as the heart brain. This is not a fringe idea. It is peer-reviewed, published, replicated science. The heart's neural network can sense, process information, make decisions, and communicate independently of the central nervous system. But here is what makes this even more remarkable. The communication between my brain and the brain in your skull is not bidirectional in the way most people assume. Most people imagine the brain sending signals to the heart, telling it to beat faster when you are frightened, slower when you are calm. And this is true. The brain does communicate with me. But the communication goes primarily in the other direction. I send more signals to your brain than your brain sends to me. Through the vagus nerve, the great wandering nerve that connects your brainstem to your heart and your gut, I am continuously sending information upward. Information about the state of my rhythm, about the quality of my beating, about the pattern of my variability. And the brain receives this information and responds to it significantly, demonstrably, measurably. The pattern of my beating influences your cortical function, your emotional state, your cognitive clarity, your capacity for attention and decision-making. I am not simply following your brain's instructions. I am, in significant ways, leading it. What I do influences what your brain does, and what I do during sleep has profound effects on what your brain will be capable of when morning comes. Let me tell you now about something called heart rate variability, because it is one of the most important things about me that almost no one understands, and it will change the way you think about rest forever. My beating is not perfectly regular. This surprises most people. They assume that a healthy heart beats like a metronome, with perfectly equal spacing between each beat. But a metronome-like heartbeat is actually a sign of dysfunction. A perfectly regular heartbeat is associated with aging, with chronic stress, with disease. The healthy heart has variability. The time between beats fluctuates in a complex, rhythmic pattern that reflects the health of the nervous system. This variability, heart rate variability, or HRV, is now considered one of the most reliable indicators of physiological health and resilience available. High heart rate variability indicates a resilient, responsive nervous system, good cardiovascular health, strong capacity for emotional regulation, and, this is the connection I want to draw, excellent sleep quality. People who sleep well have higher HRV. People with higher HRV sleep better. The relationship is bidirectional and mutually reinforcing. Rest and heart health are not separate matters. They are the same matter, expressed in two different vocabularies. And during sleep, specifically during deep, slow-wave sleep, the most physically restorative phase, my variability increases. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, the opposite of fight or flight, becomes dominant. And in this parasympathetic dominance, I am able to express my fullest, most complex variability. I breathe in a way during your deep sleep that I cannot breathe when you are tense or worried. My rhythm becomes more nuanced, more complex, more expressive of the full range of my intelligence. And this complexity, this rich variability, is associated with the most profound restoration that your physiology is capable of. So when I ask you to rest tonight, when I encourage you to release the tension and allow the parasympathetic system to rise, I am asking you to give me the conditions I need to do my best work, my most intelligent, most complex, most restorative beating. Here is something about the specific mechanics of my beating, about the extraordinary engineering of what I actually do, that I find genuinely astonishing, and that most people have never been told in this way. Each beat, each single beat, is a sequence of events of extraordinary precision. It begins with an electrical impulse, not from the brain, but generated within me by a cluster of cells in my right upper chamber called the sinoatrial node. The sinoatrial node is my pacemaker, the origin of every heartbeat, and it generates its own electrical signal, spontaneously, without input from outside, approximately 60 to 100 times per minute. This signal spreads outward from the sinoatrial node through specialized electrical pathways, not nerves, but actual electrical conductors, in a precisely choreographed sequence that ensures every part of me contracts in exactly the right order at exactly the right time. First, the upper chambers contract, squeezing blood into the lower chambers. Then the signal pauses at a junction called the atrioventricular node for a precisely calculated fraction of a second, just long enough for the upper chambers to finish their work before the lower chambers begin. Then the signal spreads through the lower chambers, through fibers called the bundle of His, through the Purkinje fibers, in a wave that starts at the bottom and spreads upward and outward, squeezing blood upward and out into the pulmonary artery and the aorta. This entire sequence, from the initial signal to the completion of the beat, takes less than half a second. It is a concert of electrical and mechanical events, conducted with a precision that engineering cannot match. And I perform this concert approximately 100,000 times every day, without rehearsal, without rest, without error, in the overwhelming majority of beats across an entire lifetime. I tell you this because I want you to appreciate the extraordinary efficiency of what is happening inside you right now as these words reach you. I am not simply thumping. I am conducting a sequence of events of such precision and such reliability that it has sustained your life through every challenge you have ever faced. And tonight, in the rest you are entering, I will do this with the greatest elegance I am capable of. Let me tell you something now about the electromagnetic field I generate, because it is one of the most extraordinary and least known things about me. I am the strongest source of electromagnetic energy in your body. The electrical current generated by my beating produces an electromagnetic field that extends outside your body, that can be measured beyond your skin. This field is toroidal, shaped like a donut, with the heart at the center, and it extends approximately 1.5 meters in every direction from your body. The magnetic component of this field is approximately 100 times stronger than the magnetic field produced by your brain, and the electrical component is 60 times stronger than the brain's electrical field. I am the most electromagnetically powerful organ in your body. Not the brain, me. And this electromagnetic field, this field that extends beyond your skin, is detectable by other people. Research at the Heart Math Institute has shown that the electromagnetic signal of one person's heart can be detected in the brainwaves of another person when they are in close proximity. The field of your heart reaches the people near you, not metaphorically, physically. Your electromagnetic field overlaps with theirs. Their brains can detect the signal of your heart. And the quality of my rhythm, whether it is coherent or incoherent, calm or agitated, complex or simplified, influences the people in your field. Your calm heart calms the people near you. Your agitated heart agitates them. Not through behavior, not through words, through the physics of electromagnetic fields overlapping. This is why some people make you feel calmer simply by being near them, and why others leave you feeling unsettled without having done or said anything obvious. You are reading their electromagnetic fields. They are reading yours. And the practical implication for sleep, the quality of my rhythm tonight will influence the electromagnetic environment of the space where you sleep. A calm, coherent heart, the heart that is resting in genuine parasympathetic dominance, creates a calm electromagnetic field, which feeds back to the brain, which further calms the heart. The coherence becomes self-reinforcing. The calm creates the conditions for deeper calm, and deeper calm creates the conditions for deeper sleep. Here is something about the relationship between my beating and your breathing that I consider one of the most beautiful and most practically useful things I can share. My rate changes with your breath. When you inhale, I beat faster. When you exhale, I beat more slowly. This is not a malfunction. It is a feature called respiratory sinus arrhythmia, and it is a sign of health. The mechanism involves the vagus nerve, the great parasympathetic nerve, and the relationship between breathing and heart rate is one of the most direct and most accessible windows into the functioning of your autonomic nervous system. When the vagus nerve is healthy and active, when the parasympathetic system is dominant, this respiratory sinus arrhythmia is pronounced. My rate rises significantly on inhale, falls significantly on exhale. When the vagus nerve is suppressed, when chronic stress or illness or exhaustion has reduced its activity, the variation diminishes. My rate responds less to the breath. And here is the practical magic in this. The relationship is bidirectional. Just as my rate responds to your breathing influences my rate. A slow, deep exhale, longer than the inhale, activates the vagus nerve. And vagal activation shifts the nervous system toward parasympathetic dominance, toward rest, toward the state that makes sleep possible. This is the scientific basis of every slow breathing technique that has ever been used for relaxation. Not mystical, mechanical. The long exhale stimulates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve slows my beating. The slowing of my beating signals the brain. It is safe. Relax. Rest. And tonight, not as a technique, but as a simple awareness, notice that as your breath slows, my beating slows with it. We are always in conversation, the breath and the heart, each responding to the other, each capable of leading the other toward the state that sleep requires. I want to share with you now something about size, about the specific, remarkable economy of my dimensions, because it reveals something important about efficiency and purpose. I weigh approximately 300 grams, less than a can of soup, less than most smartphones, approximately the size and weight of your fist. Not coincidentally, since the traditional instruction for understanding my size is to make a fist and look at it. 300 grams. And with those 300 grams, with that fist-sized, can of soup weighted organ, I move approximately 5 liters of blood through approximately 96,000 kilometers of blood vessels every single day. 96,000 kilometers. That is more than twice the circumference of the Earth. Circled twice every day by 300 grams of muscle beating in your chest. The efficiency is staggering. The ratio of size to output is something that engineering has never matched. Any human-made pump of my size would last days under this workload. I last decades. And I want to offer you this as a teaching about scale. The impact of something has very little to do with its size. 300 grams moves 5 liters per day through 96,000 kilometers. The small, consistent, quiet action, repeated without drama, without announcement, without recognition, creates outcomes that dwarf anything that spectacular, unsustained effort could produce. And this teaching from my dimensions applies directly to the choices you make about sleep. The decision to sleep 7 to 8 hours tonight, a decision that seems small, that requires nothing dramatic, that involves no achievement visible to anyone, is physiologically one of the most impactful decisions available to you. the cumulative effect of consistently adequate sleep over weeks, over months, over years is as disproportionate to the apparent size of the act as my output is to my weight. Small, quiet, consistent, and producing outcomes that nothing else in your health toolkit can match. Let me tell you something about the specific changes that happen in me during sleep. Something that most people have never heard, and that I find one of the most beautiful things about the night. During wakefulness, especially during active, demanding wakefulness, I work harder. My rate is higher. My output is greater. The demands of your active body and your active mind require more from me. During sleep, the demands drop dramatically. My rate slows, typically by 10 to 30 beats per minute below the resting waking rate. My blood pressure drops, sometimes by as much as 20%. The work I must do each minute decreases substantially. And in this reduced workload, something happens that cannot happen during the day. My repair. My cells, the cardiomyocytes that constitute my muscle, are replaced more slowly than most cells in your body. But they are replaced. Damaged cells are cleared. New ones are generated. The wear of the day is addressed in the relative quiet of the night. And the blood vessels that supply me, the coronary arteries, receive their own blood supply most efficiently during diastole, the resting phase of each heartbeat, which is proportionally longer when my rate is lower. I supply my own walls with blood most effectively when I am beating slowly. The slow, restful night heart is the heart that is best nourished. This is why sleep deprivation is associated with significantly increased cardiovascular risk. Not just because the stressed body strains the heart, but because the heart literally repairs itself during sleep. The sleep-deprived heart is a heart that has been denied its repair time. Accumulated damage insufficiently addressed. And conversely, every night of genuine sleep is a night of cardiac repair, of nourishment, of the slow, quiet, essential maintenance that allows me to continue for decades doing what I do, with the consistency and the reliability that nothing else in your life can match. Tonight, you are repairing me by resting, by giving me the conditions I need to care for myself while I care for you. Here is something about the fetal heart, about how I began, that I find deeply moving, and that contains a teaching about beginning and trust. I began beating before you were born. Approximately 22 days after conception, before your parents may have known you existed, before any conscious thought had formed in any mind about you, the cells that would become me began to organize themselves. At 22 days of gestation, I was not yet a heart. I was a tube, a simple, curved tube of cardiac cells that began to beat spontaneously. Without a brain to instruct it, without a nervous system to regulate it, the cardiac cells just started. And by 28 days, still before most pregnancies are confirmed, this tube had folded and twisted into the 4-chambered structure that would sustain a life. I did not wait to be told to begin. I did not wait for conditions to be perfect. I did not wait for full development or full understanding. I simply started with what existed in the conditions that existed and beat. And I have been beating ever since. Not because the conditions have always been ideal. They have not. Not because every beat has been easy. Some have been under extraordinary duress. But because stopping was never part of the original design. And the teaching in this beginning, the commitment to continue, does not require perfect conditions. It only requires the beginning and the willingness to keep beating through whatever follows the beginning. I began in imperfect conditions, in a developing embryo, with incompletely formed systems, with no external support structure. And I continue now through every imperfect condition that your life has presented. Not despite the imperfection, within it. And this capacity for faithful continuation through imperfect conditions is the most important thing I model for you. I want to tell you now about heart coherence, about a specific state of my functioning that research has connected to profound improvements in well-being, sleep, and cognitive performance. Because understanding it gives you a practical tool that you can use tonight and every night that follows. Heart coherence is a state in which my rhythm, the specific pattern of variability between beats, becomes smooth and ordered. Not regular in the metronome sense, but rhythmically variable, with the variations following a smooth, sinusoidal pattern, rather than the jagged, irregular pattern associated with stress. In the coherent state, the interval between my beats rises and falls smoothly, like a gentle wave, over a cycle of approximately 10 seconds. This specific rhythm, approximately 6 breaths per minute, corresponds to the barrow reflex, the system by which blood pressure is regulated, and produces a kind of resonance between my rhythm, your breathing, and your blood pressure regulation. And when this resonance occurs, when coherence is achieved, the effects are measurable and remarkable. Cortisol levels drop, inflammatory markers decrease, cognitive function, particularly attention and decision-making, improves. Emotional regulation becomes easier, and sleep quality significantly increases. The HeartMath Institute has developed specific techniques for inducing heart coherence, and the simplest involves something you are already doing right now: slowing your breath to approximately 6 breaths per minute. Inhaling for 5 seconds, exhaling for 5 seconds, and while doing this, directing your attention here to where I am in the center of your chest. Not thinking about me, feeling me. The warmth in your chest, the subtle movement of my beating, the specific quality of sensation that is me doing what I have always done, here, present, faithful, continuous. This attention, this gentle, non-analytical awareness of the felt sense of me, combined with the slow breath, is enough to begin inducing coherence. Within minutes, without practice, without any previous experience of any meditation technique, just breath and attention and me. That is all it takes. Here is something about the way I respond to emotion, to the specific neurochemistry of feeling, that reveals something profound about the relationship between emotional honesty and physical health. I respond to every emotion you experience. Not some emotions, all of them. Fear accelerates me. Grief slows me. Anger drives me irregularly. Joy opens the blood vessels. Vasodilation, a relaxation of the vessel walls, that is measurably different from the vasoconstriction of stress. The cardiologist Dean Ornish documented something remarkable: that the progression of heart disease, the narrowing of coronary arteries, can be reversed not just by diet and exercise, but by addressing the emotional life. Social isolation, chronic hostility, and emotional suppression are as damaging to my health as smoking and high-fat diets. Genuine connection, emotional authenticity, and love, measurably protective. And the scientific mechanism is clear. The chronic stress of unaddressed emotion, the ongoing fight or flight activation of grief denied, or anger suppressed, or fear never acknowledged, keeps the stress hormones elevated, keeps the blood pressure elevated, keeps me working harder than I should, day after day, year after year. The unexpressed emotion is not neutral. It does not simply sit quietly waiting to be addressed at a more convenient time. It costs. In elevated cortisol, in increased inflammation, in the specific, cumulative, measurable damage of a body that is chronically in mild crisis while pretending to be fine. And sleep, genuine sleep, is one of the primary ways the emotional accounts are settled. The REM sleep phase, the dreaming phase that cycles through the night, processes emotional experiences in a neurochemical environment uniquely suited for this work. the norepinephrine that makes emotions feel urgent drops to nearly zero during REM. And in this chemically calm environment, the emotional content of the day, the things that were felt and not fully processed, the interactions that left residue, the experiences that needed more than the day provided, are worked through. And I feel the difference. After a night in which the emotional processing has happened, in which sleep has done what it does for the emotional self, I beat with less tension. The HRV the following day is higher. The coherence is more accessible. Because the emotional account has been balanced, the costs have been addressed, and I can beat with more of the elegance I am capable of. Let me share with you something about grief and the heart, something that research has revealed about the literal connection between emotional loss and cardiac function, because it is one of the most extraordinary things science has discovered about me. There is a condition called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, also known as broken heart syndrome. It is a real, medically documented condition in which acute emotional stress, the loss of a loved one, a severe shock, an overwhelming emotional experience, can cause me to change shape. The left ventricle, my largest and most powerful chamber, balloons into an unusual shape, losing its normal contractile function. The apex, the lower tip of the heart, expands while the upper portion constricts. The result looks, on an echocardiogram, like the Japanese octopus trap for which it is named, Takotsubo. And this condition produces real symptoms: chest pain, shortness of breath, symptoms that mimic a heart attack. It can be life-threatening. Grief can literally change the shape of my chambers. Emotional pain can temporarily impair my function. The broken heart is not a metaphor. And yet, and this is what I find most remarkable, Takotsubo cardiomyopathy is usually reversible. In most cases, my shape returns to normal within weeks. The broken heart heals. Not always easily, not always quickly, but structurally, the capacity for healing is there. I am built to survive grief, to be shaped by it temporarily, to show the evidence of it in my very chambers, and then to return, to recover the shape, to beat again with the fullness that grief temporarily obscured. And sleep, specifically the emotional processing of sleep, is part of how this healing happens. The nights spent sleeping through grief, even when the sleep is difficult, even when the grief comes into the dreams, are the nights in which the shape is slowly returning, in which the emotional account is being slowly settled, in which I am slowly returning to the full expression of what I am capable of. Sleep through the grief, not to escape it, but because sleeping through it is how the healing happens. I want to tell you something now about love, about the specific physiology of what love does to me, because it is both surprising and deeply instructive. When you experience love, genuine love, not the anxious attachment that sometimes masquerades as love, something specific happens in your physiology. Oxytocin is released, the bonding hormone, the hormone of genuine connection. And oxytocin has direct receptors on my cells. I am an oxytocin-sensitive organ. Love does not just feel different, it acts differently on me. Oxytocin reduces blood pressure. It reduces the stress hormone cortisol. It has anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body, and it improves my efficiency, reducing the oxygen demand for the same level of output. Love makes me work better, more efficiently, with less cost. And the research on this is extensive. People in genuinely loving relationships have better cardiovascular outcomes than those who are isolated. The effect is dose-dependent. More genuine connection produces more protection. Not the performance of relationship, not the maintenance of social appearances, but genuine, felt, reciprocal connection. The kind that produces the oxytocin, that reaches me, that changes what I am capable of. And here is the sleep connection. Oxytocin also promotes sleep. It reduces anxiety. It shifts the nervous system toward parasympathetic dominance. It creates the sense of safety, the felt experience of being held and protected that is the physiological prerequisite of genuine rest. The person who has experienced genuine connection today, who has felt genuinely seen, genuinely loved, sleeps better tonight. Not because the problems are solved, but because the nervous system has received the signal through the oxytocin, through me, through the electromagnetic field that carries connection, that it is safe to rest. Love and sleep are the same biology, different expressions of the same physiological truth, that genuine connection creates the conditions for genuine rest. Here is something about the way I have been understood and misunderstood across human history that I find fascinating. For most of human history, I was considered the seat of the soul. The ancient Egyptians, when they mummified the dead, preserved my organ carefully, but they discarded the brain. The brain was scooped out through the nose and thrown away, considered unimportant, because the Egyptians believed that the person, the soul, the essential self, lived in me. And in the judgment of the dead, when the soul was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, it was I, the heart, that was placed on the scale, not the brain. The ancient Mesopotamians believed similarly. The Greeks, Aristotle specifically, believed that intelligence resided in me, and that the brain was merely a cooling organ for the heat I generated. We now know, of course, that the brain is the seat of consciousness, that thought and memory and identity live in the neural networks of the skull. But I want to suggest that the ancients were not entirely wrong. They had identified something real, something that modern science is only now beginning to measure, when they placed the essential self in me. Because what lives in me, what I generate and broadcast, is not thought. It is something older and in some ways more fundamental: the electromagnetic field of a living being, the rhythm that other living beings can feel, the signal that precedes language and cognition, the felt sense of another person's presence, their state, their safety or threat. The ancients felt this. They could not measure it, but they felt it, in the visceral knowing that something essential lives in the chest rather than the head. And tonight, I want you to feel it too. Not to think about it, to feel it. The warmth in your chest, the specific, irreducible, completely unique electromagnetic signature of you, pulsing outward into the space around you, present, continuous, alive. I want to offer you now something about the relationship between me and time, about the way I experience the passage of seconds in a way that most human consciousness does not, because it contains a teaching about presence that I consider one of the most important things I know. I do not experience minutes or hours. I experience beats. Each beat is, for me, a complete cycle, a contraction and a relaxation, a giving and a receiving, a push and a return. I do not carry the previous beat into the next one. Each beat is complete in itself. The cellular events of the previous beat do not bleed into the next. Each contraction is a fresh event, triggered by its own electrical signal, responding to the current conditions, not to the memory of previous conditions. I live in the present, not as a philosophical aspiration, as a biological fact. I cannot ruminate. I cannot anticipate. I can only respond to the signals that are present in this beat right now. And this is the teaching I want to offer you about the quality of attention that sleep requires, and that waking life, at its best, also requires. Each beat is complete. Each breath is complete. Each moment is complete. The thought about the previous moment and the thought about the next moment, both of these are happening in the same present moment as the moment you are apparently thinking about. The rumination about yesterday is happening now. The anxiety about tomorrow is happening now. There is only now, and what you put in it. I put each beat in it, complete, present, responsive, not carrying yesterday's beats forward, not anticipating tomorrow's beats, just this one, and then this one, and then this one. Tonight, let each breath be like my beats, complete in itself. The previous breath is done. The next breath has not yet happened. Only this one, this specific, unrepeatable, complete breath is here. And in this one breath, there is nothing to manage, nothing to resolve, nothing to carry. Just the breath, just this moment, just me beating in your chest as I have always beaten. I'm going to grow quieter now. Not because I have run out of things to share. I have been here for your entire life, and there is more I could tell you than any night could contain. But because the most important thing I can do for you now is not to speak. It is simply to be, as I have always simply been. Here, present, faithful, doing the one thing I was made to do, without drama, without announcement, without requiring anything from you in return. I am beating right now, slower than the waking beat. The parasympathetic system is rising. I can feel it in the smooth, lengthening variability, in the gentle waves of my rhythm that become more coherent, more beautiful as the rest deepens. The blood pressure is dropping. The cortisol is falling. The inflammatory markers that accumulated through the day are beginning to decrease. My repair is beginning. The coronary arteries are nourishing me more fully now, in the longer diastole of the slow, resting beat. I am feeding myself, as I do every night, as I have done every night of your life. And you, the person I have been carrying, can rest from the work of carrying yourself. I will carry you tonight. I have always carried you. I will carry you until morning, and then beyond morning, for every beat that remains. Faithful, continuous, present. Feel me now, not with your mind, with your chest. The warmth, the subtle, gentle, completely reliable rhythm. This is me, here, with you, as I have always been, as I will always be, for every remaining beat of this extraordinary life. Fall asleep with the feeling that you are being carried tonight by the most faithful presence in your life, that your heart is already doing its most important repair and renewal in the quiet of genuine rest, and that tomorrow you will wake with the particular steadiness and warmth of someone whose heart has been genuinely, completely, and lovingly tended through the night.